baby. I need you. I need to be somebody, baby. I need you. I need to somebody. I need you. I need to be somebody. That's a pretty long name, isn't it? But again, not to be intimidated by, because it's as simple as any other epithelial tissue. Okay, so the name of the epithelial tissue we are dealing with today is pseudo-stratified simple, which might either be columnar or cuboidal, but never squamous, epithelial tissue. So let's understand the meaning of the terms first. What does simple mean? Simple means that the cells are arranged in a single layer. And what does stratified mean? Stratified means layered or cells in multiple layers. Wait, what? These two terms are completely contradicting each other. So which one is it? To understand that, just look at the name and split it. The epithelial tissue is a simple epithelial tissue. So the cells are indeed arranged in a single layer. But what about this stratified word? The tissue is not stratified. It is pseudo-stratified. What does pseudo mean? Pseudo means false. Have you heard this term before? Amoeba have pseudopodia as a locomotory organ. I mean, not organ, locomotory structure. Where pseudo means false and podia means leg. So they have false leg-like structures that help in locomotion. Similarly here as well, the tissue itself is simple, but they have false layer-like appearance. It is not actually layered, but there's a false illusion of layering, which you will understand after I draw the diagram of the tissue. So here's the diagram. I know, I'm slow. Please be patient at least for me. Okay, so there are these cells. Then the cells have nucleus. And there you go. Am I missing something? Yes, very important, basement membrane. Okay, so do you see anything different here compared to other epithelial tissue? I mean, I clearly see it. The difference is that here, all the cells are not of the same size. There are few cells that are smaller. There are few cells that are smaller than other. And these smaller cells have nucleus at a position lower than the nucleus of the longer cells. Due to this particular reason, false stratification is seen. How? So, in order to observe this tissue, you need to stain it first, right? After staining the tissue, you observe it under a microscope. Due to the difference in the position of the nucleus, while viewing the tissue under a microscope, you will see a false stratification. Why? The nucleus that are present below will appear as lower layer, and the nucleus that is present at a higher level will appear as the upper layer. So there seems as if there are lower layer and upper layer, when in reality those are all nucleus placed at different places. So nucleus at different position, right, gives false illusion of stratification. Okay, so this is your tissue. The tissue itself are of various types. Let's look at it. Number one is normal type. Normal is non-ciliated. That is the free surface, the surface opposite to the basement membrane does not contain any cilia. This type of pseudo-stratified tissue is found in vas deferens of the male reproductive system. Secondly, there's your stereociliated tissue. What does stereo mean? Ciliated means the free surface has cilia, and stereo means it is stiff. The cilia is stiff or non-motile. That is, it does not move or bit. So these are stiff cilia present on the free surface. Such type of pseudostratified epithelium is found in the epididymis of male reproductive system. And thirdly, and most important, you have ciliated, or you could call it kinociliated pseudostratified epithelium, where you already know kino means the motile. The cilia is motile. Boom, 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 bam, bam, bam. That is the so rowing movement. Where is it found? It's found in your upper respiratory tract. Okay, so now let me draw the upper respiratory tract and show you exactly where it is found. I mean, you'll be looking at the same information again in the respiratory chapter, but why wait for it? Just see it itself. So firstly, you have your nose, your beautiful nose, and then there's your nasal chamber of the nose. I'm skipping directly to your trachea, which has the C-shaped cartilages. The trachea is divided into two primary bronchi at the point of carina. This point is known as the point of carina. And these primary bronchi each penetrate individual lungs and then further divide into secondary bronchi. Bam, bam, bam. Ta-dang, ta-dang. Which further divide into further bronchi and then finally bronchioles. I'm directly showing, otherwise it will take a lot of time. I will be revising this topic again in the chapter of respiratory system. So here's your right lung, and then here's your left lung. Okay, so your nasal chamber has this epithelium. Your trachea has this epithelium. Your primary bronchi has your epithelium, bronchos for singular. Your secondary bronchos has this epithelium. But this epithelium is in the form of columnar cells, which are the tall cells. But as this respiratory tract divides further into bronchioles, right, the lumen gets smaller and there is no longer space enough for columnar cells to adjust. So instead of pseudostratified simple columnar epithelial tissue, which is found in nasal chamber, trachea, primary bronchus and secondary bronchus, in bronchioles you'll find cuboidal cells. The same epithelial but cuboidal cells. And with that, we complete the topic of pseudostratified simple columnar or cuboidal epithelial tissue. Let me revise it for you. Okay, pseudostratified simple epithelial tissue. It is a simple epithelial tissue where cells are arranged in a single layer. Why? because the base of all of the cells are in direct contact with the basement membrane. It is pseudo-stratified because the cells arranged in a single layer are of different sizes. The smaller cells have their nucleus at a position lower than the nucleus of the taller cells, which gives off a false illusion of stratification when viewed under a microscope after staining. It is of three types. You have normal or non-ciliated, where the cells on their free surface don't have any cilia. It is found in the vas deferens of the male reproductive system. Next is stereo-ciliated. Oh, I forgot the O here. Where cilia is present on the free surface, but the stereo is stereo, that is, it is stiff and non-motile, and which is found in the epididymis of the male reproductive system. And finally, ciliated or kinociliated pseudo-stratified simple epithelial tissue where motile cilia is present. And where is it found? It's found in the upper respiratory tract. What is the significance of kinociliated epithelium? Okay, the kinociliated pseudo-stratified simple columnar or cuboidal epithelial tissue have kinocilia. These kinocilia, they bit in a particular direction, and that particular direction is outside or up. What's the use of that? When you breathe in, along with air goes in dust and dirt particles. Your respiratory tract is lined by mucous membrane. Those dust and dirt particles get trapped in the mucous membrane. And त्यसैले सिगान बन्छ के नाकभित्र सिगान बन्छ. That's why you have boogers. Anyway, not only inside the nasal chamber, but also inside of your trachea and bronchi. So this dust and dirt along with mucus moves in upward direction because the cilia of the epithelium lining the upper respiratory tract is continuously beating upward. Boom, boom, boom. And the mucus is slowly shifting upward. Bam, bam, bam. That's why most people have mucus on the upper surface of their respiratory tract when they wake up in the morning. So खकार फालेको फाइदा हुन्छ त्यसैले, किनभने खकारमा धुलो धुवा आदि पाइन्छ. यदि बिहान फाल्न सक्यो भने फाल, तिम्रो लागि राम्रो. फालेन भने पनि ठिकै छ, अन्त्यमा माथि आउँछ, तिमी निल्छौ, डाइजेस्टिभ सिस्टम हुँदै गइहाल्छ, अनि चाकबाट निस्किहाल्छ. Yep, that's it. Bye bye. Please comment something, dude. I miss you guys.